Hello everyone, my name is Joshua Hancock, and I will be presenting my summer research entitled The Power of Affirming Spaces for Queer, Trans, Black, Indigenous People of Color, an Intersectional Analysis. The understanding that this research and literary analysis is based on is that community is an essential need for humanity, and when queer, trans, black, indigenous people of color are deprived of this need, the effects of its discovery may prove powerful for a cohort accustomed to alienation and discrimination. Such alienation that it inhibits community discovery, as stated an essential need for humanity. Literature has looked into this and identified two aspects that curtail community discovery for queer, trans, black, indigenous people of color. The first being possible heteronormativity and cisnormativity experienced by communities of origin, and the second being racism experienced by the white LGBTQ communities and cisnormativity among cisgender bands. With that last point, it builds into the first of two themes, central themes, that encompass the summer research, being the presence of exclusionary spaces. Exclusionary spaces for queer, trans, black, indigenous people of color and the LGBTQ community based on racial identity. This was taking a look through a micro-macro analysis. The micro looking at peer-to-peer discrimination through the forms of microaggressions and other overt forms and covert forms of discrimination, including tokenization, preference talk, and generalizations commonly seen in dating spaces. Scholars sought to measure such transgressions, finding that enhanced exposure may be linked to worsened mental well-being for the population. The macro-analysis looks at how exclusionary spaces take root in neighborhoods and cities and populations and communities. The implications of these two analyses on the presence of exclusionary spaces is that whether it's institutional or personal racism experienced within LGBTQ communities dissolves feelings of safety and identity affirmation for queer, trans, black, indigenous people of color. With that said, there is much importance to discovering affirming spaces in community. Literature is more sparse on this topic, but has identified two main themes of what the power of affirming spaces has on queer, trans, black, indigenous people of color, being collective action and community mobilization and positive effects on mental well-being. The theoretical lens for this project is through intersectionality theories developed by Kimberly Crenshaw and Patricia Hill Collins in the academic setting. Future plans for this project is to build upon this literature analysis and the insight and knowledge derived, and to hope to see an individual interview format approach to explore more deeply the power of affirming spaces for queer, trans, black, indigenous people of color. Following my initial research question is that will refuge from heteronormative, cisnormative, and racist environments through the discovery of affirming spaces prove to have a cathartic and liberative significance for queer, trans, black, indigenous people of color? Research gathered is an ongoing work in progress. Any questions or feedback are highly encouraged and can be messaged to me via email. My email, hancock7@illinois.edu. I would like to acknowledge my faculty mentor, Dr. Gassam Moussaoui, the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign McNair program and staff, intersectional researchers that gave me much to work with and explore for a topic I wanted to see through, and stories and resilience of queer, trans, black, indigenous people of color. Thank you so much for listening to my poster presentation today.